Good morning, students. Today, and lecture number 14 of semester 6, we are going to discuss again FRU's conception of literature. In the previous lecture, lecture number 13, we have discussed about the conception of literature in general and the pre-industrial culture, definition of culture, and the ways of living in the pre-industrial time. And today we are going to discuss the industrial time. F.R. Lewis, in his well-known book Culture and Environment, very well focuses on the culture of pre-industrial time and culture of industrial time. As a minute observer of both the time, both the period, F.R. Lewis, who has enjoyed a lot the pre-industrial culture of his childhood time, he knows very well. But in the course of time, when he goes to city, and the same culture also he minutely observes, but finally he comes to the conclusion that the pre-industrial culture, in which the ways of living, family, village was a whole family, a big family, each and every people of the village, their business relations, their celebrations of festivals, and each and everything they celebrate unanimously beyond color, caste, position, and so on. But when he compares the pre-industrial time, in which he very well defines culture, a way of living, order and pattern, according to the civilized way of life or community. And in which he further says, in those days, such ideal communities means such civilized way of ideal life were found in the villages, and the family was not a single family in those days considered, but the whole village was considered as one family. So this way, my dear friends, he in this lecture number 14, very well highlights the condition of today's time, the civilized time, the industrial time, which are very, very different from the earlier life. Because earlier life means in those days, what happens, the pre-industrial time was considered as an ideal time. Each village was considered as a big family who follows the unwritten code of conducts passing from generation to generation without any written document. One. Secondly, they ensures both the progress of the cultural heritage of the nation and the community as well. Means the unity of the community, development and progress of the community from one generation to another generation systematically goes in the villages without any written code, and the people in those days easily mix, adjust with local conditions of that time, local conditions, modes of work, business relations, social intercourse, recreation, foster the growth of such civilized way of life. Means in this way, people in their mode of work, business relations easily mix, adjust, make a compromise without any written document. So it was, according to FRS, was no doubt a healthy society, healthy villages, healthy atmosphere, easily found. But when we live in the industrial time, the time of the present civilized time, he says what happens, instead of mixing with each other in social intercourse, social relations, mode of work, and each and every one easily follow the unwritten code of conducts passed through generation to generation without any written mode, without any guidelines. By making or dictating the certain changes occurred by the experiences, this process goes on. But when he talks about the industrial time, because he compares between the pre-industrial time and industrial time. In the industrial time, or we say industrial age, or the same we call the civilized life, or we can call it the modern life. On this, FRS, on this modern civilized industrial life, he was not happy, because in this mode, in this industrial time, what happens? People working for mass production. People working for mass production. Because when man is engaged in the machine, in the industry, then he was engaged in the mass, means plenty of production, and he, in this production, mass production, he became so much busy that he forgot that who is his neighbor, who is his near, who is relatives, or who are his friends. Means in this way, he from the beginning to the end of the day engaged in the such mass production with machines and huddled together in big industrial towns. And people lived in the big industrial town. Big industrial town means the same villages in the modern time, industrial time, converted into the industrial towns. The nature of work of the previous people, whose relations with other people, adjustment with local conditions, business relations, totally converted into the people working for mass production. Means this type of change that FRS very well points out through his book Culture and Environment. At the same time, men have ceased to have that feeling of oneness. Men, he says, men have ceased the feeling of oneness. Feeling of oneness means in those time, in the pre-industrial time, all the village considered as a big family, and everyone considered that they are their close relatives, close friends, close family members. But in the industrial time, the industrial men have keys limits. They have stopped such feeling of oneness that we are one. We are living in one family. We are like one family members. They have stopped because they are totally engaged in the mass production. They have, instead living in a big family like village, they are converted living in the industrial town, where who are their neighbors nobody knows. This way, isolatory or solitary life these people are living. Then we have feeling of oneness in those days, one easily found in the villages before the industrial age, that totally stopped in this time that the Prophet says. And some they have, beside this, they are just united. They are just united on the basis of, we simply say, they are only united on the basis of such, we can say, the industrial towns, modes of work, and their interests are in watching TV, reading newspapers. That keeps them together instead of making a happy or living a happy life. These people, he says, they are not only common cultural bond, but the continuity of their quarters. They are living in the quarters. The system of transport and supply gas, and their discussions of daily routines. Their discussion of the routine are the system of transport, and the supply of gas. The supply of gas, water and electricity. Water and these three things are the issues of their discussions. For example, industrial living in the villages, in the groups, these people are living in the quarters. Means they have no any cultural, communal, social bond or attachment. They people have regularly think about the supply of transport. Means these are the issues of their daily routine conversation, and also they think about the gas, water, and also electricity. These are the regular issues of their discussions, and their taste and interest have ceaselessly, means stopped ceaselessly or stopped, because those who people talk about one's interest, happiness, celebration in the festivals and so on, then convert into these issues, and they simply talks about their interest, discussions about the mode of communication. The communication of these people only on films, newspapers, advertisements, popular fictions, etc. are the regular modes of discussions of these people, because these people communicate with each other. First, what about the condition of gas? The prices are increased. Is it regularly get to you? Then about the water, shortage of water. Water comes one day after another. It's that way. About electricity, bills. These are the modes of communications, issues of communication of these people. Besides that, these people also talk about the means communication like films, newspapers, advertisements, popular fictions are also the another issues of these people's communications. And so their interest, which is according to FRVs, their self-interest exploit the cheapest emotional response of the people. Means such discussions according to FRVs are not the healthy discussions, which are not required for the happy, healthy, enjoyable living. But these people are, according to FRVs, the industrial people, modern people, civilized people are engaged in such of work, and they have lost the happiness. They lost the communal, social, national bond of attachment, unity, diversity, happiness, and so on. And this way, these people are engaged. So, FRVs, by this observation, he simply says, therefore, he says, which who says, therefore, F for Luis says we say we cannot say as we might in a healthy state of culture, as we might in a healthy state of culture means we cannot say as we might means we are in a healthy state of culture live the citizens which allows to live the citizens. We simply say that the culture which we live in the modern time according to FRS, he says we are not in a healthy state that the people of the pre-industrial time lives. So he says we cannot say as we might in a healthy state of culture. One, and he further says, live the citizen to be formed unconsciously by his environment if anything like over the idea, if anything like over the idea of satisfactory living, is to be saved, he must be trained and he must be trained to discriminate. He must be trained to discriminate and to resist. So this is one thing that FROS very well concludes about the culture and environment. That he expects that the modern time, civilized time, industrial time, and the people, those who are living in this age, he says they cannot say they are living in this healthy state of culture because they are not living like the earlier people who lives a healthy culture, happy life, sound life, love of unity, and also the diversity, which is running traditions from traditions. And same time he says, leave the citizen to be formed unconsciously. Means these people are living unconsciously. Why they are living, what they are doing, they also doesn't know. So that unconsciously living by his environment is not healthy one. And he further says, if anything like a worthy idea of satisfactory living is to be saved, and he must be trained to discriminate and to resist. Means one must be trained to discriminate and resist this culture if one is living. And at the same time he says the culture of the pre-industrial time, he says, is no doubt is really a good one, but people have accepted this industrial time, industrial living, civilized way of living that is totally wrong. So in this way, my dear students, FROS in his culture and environment makes a comparison between the two cultures, culture before the industrial age, culture of the industrial age, and he proves that by comparison, he proves that the pre-industrial culture, ancient pattern of life living, the village life was no doubt was healthy, soundful, and healthy one. So this way, he makes a comparison between the two and come to the conclusion that pre-industrial time, time of ancient, and also the life of village is no doubt that is ideal one. So tomorrow in lecture number 15, we conclude this FRS conception of literature with this brief information about this topic. I stop here. Thank you very much.